Posted by you/Bear. I, 24F, am currently 8 months pregnant with a baby girl, and my aunt and cousin have been giving me trouble ever since I announced the news. My partner and I already adore our daughter and have no plans to give her up, but my aunt wants me to give my child to my cousin, who has been struggling with infertility for the past 5 years. For more context, my aunt has been a motherly figure to my sister and me since our mother passed away when we were very young. We have always been close with our aunt and cousin and have tried to support my cousin through her struggles with infertility. My aunt is very religious, being a Mormon who regularly attends church. She has a rigid, close-minded view of morality, values, and living a good life. She believes that a child deserves a strong, foundational religious upbringing with a providing father and a loving, attentive mother. Since my partner is not Christian and because we both have full-time jobs and careers, she claims that my child will grow up confused and misguided in our household due to our religious differences and lack of proper care. She says she fears that our child's well-being will not be prioritized in such an environment and that our daughter could likely go down a dark, immoral path. According to her, my cousin, who works part-time from home, and her husband are far better equipped to provide my child with a loving home and strong religious values. I have blocked both my aunt and cousin on most forms of communication and moved to a new home, where they do not know the address. My partner and I also had a private wedding ceremony so they cannot interfere with my medical decisions. Of the two, my aunt has been more aggressive. She once showed up at my old apartment to argue with me about the situation. In a fake, pleasant tone, she tried to persuade me to join her at a cafe near her church to talk about the baby, even after I told her there was nothing to discuss and that I was keeping my child. I had to inform the apartment manager and hide until she left, which took about half an hour. My aunt has even recruited her church friends, who sometimes send me hostile text messages and voicemails. My cousin, on the other hand, has been quieter toward me but is struggling with depression and trauma after losing her baby girl last year in a stillbirth following preterm labor at 30 weeks. She has been posting on social media and joining motherhood-related groups, but I've heard through gossip that she has been banned from many of these groups due to harassing young mothers and widows for their babies. She is reportedly desperate to fix her family by getting a baby and has apparently said she is waiting for me to give birth so she can have my baby, whom she sees as a replacement for her late daughter. My aunt and cousin are convinced that I will be overwhelmed by the responsibilities of motherhood and will ultimately decide to let my cousin adopt my daughter. My aunt has even said that since we are family, it shouldn't be hard for me to give up my baby, adding that I could always have another child later, as I am still young and plan to attend grad school after working for a while. My cousin has expressed a desire to reconnect as we were before my pregnancy, but I have decided not to speak with her again until after I give birth. I want to minimize stress during my pregnancy. While I was once supportive of her infertility journey and generally liked her more than my aunt, her recent behavior has shocked me and made me fear for my safety. I am planning a big wedding celebration for next year. As my partner, I had a private ceremony this year. I am uncertain whether my cousin and aunt will be invited or even able to attend. I currently have strong family support from both sides, apart from those who are close to my aunt and cousin, but I don't know if that support will remain as strong in a year or what my relationship with them will look like at that time. I have been skipping family events where I know they will be present, but I don't want to miss out on gatherings and fun forever. I am unsure what the future holds with my aunt and cousin after my baby is born and the issues surrounding that. Any support would be greatly appreciated. Update 3 days later. This will be a small update. We contacted the local church leader and discussed the situation with my aunt and cousin, who are both active members. We spoke with him for a while. Initially, he dismissed my concerns as a personal conflict within the family and tried to refer us to counseling services. We explained to him that my cousin is dealing with trauma from her baby's death and is harboring false hopes about adopting my baby, who would be raised in a good home. We also told him that my aunt is feeding into these hopes and has been harassing me on her behalf, causing significant stress and disturbance. He told me he understood my side and acknowledged my cousin's struggles with her inability to have children. He said he would contact my aunt and cousin to hear their perspectives on the situation. I spoke with him again today. He mentioned that my aunt and cousin would like to speak with me and that they were concerned about my lack of communication with them, especially since I moved away. I explained to him that their behavior regarding my baby had influenced my decisions and pressed him for more details about what they had said. He informed me that my cousin had spoken with a church therapist and was exploring adoption to start a family, as her IVF treatments were unlikely to result in a pregnancy due to her condition. I emphasized to him that I was not giving up my baby and that my cousin was mistakenly believing otherwise. He said he understood and then began asking for personal details about how I was doing. Once again, he tried to arrange a meeting between me and my aunt and cousin and suggested counseling services. I told him I was not comfortable with that at the moment. He urged me to at least call my cousin once and said he would meet with my aunt on Sunday since I was too scared to handle it myself. Our call ended after that. I'll post any updates on what he says in the coming days under this post. Edit. I am not satisfied with his response and do not appreciate the pressure he is placing on me to reconnect with my aunt and cousin. While he says he understands my concerns, I feel he is being dismissive and is trying to force us to resolve our issues. My partner and I thought it was worth reaching out to him because of his influence and religious authority over my aunt and cousin. I'll see how the next phone call goes and consider what I can do to make him take my concerns more seriously. Edit. To clarify, I did not provide him with any personal information and have no plans to meet with my aunt and cousin in person. We are in contact with legal help. We do not live in Utah. Second update 1 week later. We spoke again with the bishop. He said that there isn't much he can personally do to resolve the situation within his capacity between me and my aunt/cousin, other than refer us to counseling services. I asked him if he had met with my aunt, and he said he had. Their conversation was apparently focused on my cousin and helping her heal. He told me that my cousin was also grieving the loss of communication with me and my sister, who hasn't been talking to her much anymore. I told him that my cousin was trying to take my baby to replace hers and that her and my aunt's behavior was threatening the safety and well-being of me and my family. I think he was losing interest in the conversation, so he just told me to do whatever I feel is best for my family, but to consider the grief my cousin has been through and to contact family counseling services for further help on this matter. My partner and I sent him an email afterward, with a copy to our lawyer, to close off communication. I decided to unblock my cousin and send her a message. I told her that my partner and I are keeping our baby and that this is not up for discussion. I encouraged her to seek proper therapy if she hasn't already done so, and told her that I am not comfortable with her husband, or my aunt being involved in my child's life. She hasn't responded yet. Regardless of what she says, our relationship will not return to what it was before, and she will not be a part of my child's life. Third update 5 months later. Here is the update everyone has been waiting for. I've been busy over the last few months with the birth of my baby and projects I've been working on as I recover and take care of my new baby. I logged into Reddit a few times since then but hadn't gotten a chance to update. I'm 25 now, and my baby is almost 4 months old. Time sure flies. She's doing well and brings us so much joy. I love going on walks with her, and she's growing up so fast. I'm planning to go back to work soon, currently looking for a new job. Thank you all for your concern and well wishes, and I hope everyone is having a great time during the Thanksgiving holiday season. Now, for the update that everyone has been looking forward to, my cousin and aunt. Since my last update, my cousin and aunt went silent for a while, and my cousin didn't respond to my texts. In August, my aunt reached out to me through a new number and asked how I was and whether I'd had the baby yet. We talked. She was concerned about my and the baby's well-being, especially since I'd distanced myself from much of my family and had to leave my job. I asked about my cousin. She said they've been trying to adopt a baby through their church connections, but nothing has been successful so far, probably because they've just started. I asked if they had consulted with a proper adoption agency, but my aunt mentioned that my cousin's husband's past might become an issue, which I didn't know about. She then went on a rant about how the white birth rate is dropping and how people are actively denying themselves parenthood. Then, she asked if I still wanted my baby. I reaffirmed to her that I did want my baby, and she talked about how my cousin was getting old, though she's only in her early 30s, and how her nest is still empty. She wanted me to at least share the joy by letting my cousin be involved in my daughter's life and spend time with her. I told her that wouldn't be possible because of their past behavior. I fear my cousin would try to become her mother and let her delusions take over again. My aunt said my cousin was trying to improve and had received some church counseling. I still told her no. She then asked if I knew of anyone or any resources for adopting a baby. I told her I didn't and advised that my cousin and her husband should be careful and patient in their journey to parenthood. My aunt emphasized how important it was for my cousin and her husband to become parents because they deserve children by now, both for their own sake and for their reputation, since everyone around them is reaching the parenthood milestone. She also asked about my future family plans and pushed me on when I get pregnant again or have my next child. She told me family planning was important, especially after this surprise pregnancy, and asked if they could be involved next time. As the call went on, more of her usual behavior surfaced, and I was getting tired of it. I wanted to end the call, but she ended it first because she had another activity. Thankfully, I have my sister to keep me updated on what's happening with my aunt, cousin, and other family matters related to my old church. Everything my aunt said about my cousin appears to be true. According to my sister, my cousin's overall mental health seems to have improved from its worst point, but she still has deep depressive periods. She sometimes feels very empty because of her lack of children and her worsened relationships with me and my sister. My cousin and her husband are also trying to find an IVF doctor abroad in hopes of a miracle, since many of their options are shutting down here. My cousin apparently still views my baby as something she lost, but she believes God will give her children soon and has been working on seeking forgiveness for her sins. We're skipping Thanksgiving with my side of the family in a few days for obvious reasons. I plan to return to the workforce soon, likely after the holidays. I've made all the necessary childcare arrangements with precautions, and the future is looking good overall. Again, thank you all for your support.